Hi, my name is Vincent Wall and I'm with the Robotics and Biology Lab of TU Berlin. Today I have the pleasure of presenting to you our paper on a virtual 2D tactile array using acoustic sensing. Do you think a robotic hand could read Braille with its fingers like this? I think it is pretty impressive that even our human fingers have such sensitive tactile abilities that a few bumps on a piece of paper are enough to read a whole story. But I also think that it's still a pretty challenging problem for a robotic finger. Well, I'm here today to tell you about our acoustic sensing approach that does just that. It turns soft pneumatic actuators, like this PneuFlex actuator here, into tactile arrays capable of sensing fine details like the patterns of a Braille display. Now, admittedly, reading Braille is not exactly a very relevant robotic task. There surely are easier ways to read Braille than to use a soft robotic hand. But we think that it's still a pretty good test for the achievable detail of our tactile array. Plus, with a Braille display like this, we can control each dot individually and easily create different contact patterns to test our sensor. Our approach is based on the acoustic sensing approach we have previously presented. We see here the inside of a pneumatic actuator. There's a large air chamber surrounded by a blue rubber hull. Into this air chamber, we place a microphone at the base and a speaker at the tip. When the speaker now plays a sound, the sound propagates through the finger and interacts with the whole structure along the way. This modulates the sound before the microphone records it. Now the cool part is that every interaction with the finger, which can be a deformation or also contact, it also affects the sound modulation. So this allows us to learn to map specific sound recordings to the corresponding actuator properties like contact with other objects, for example. So this is the key idea of the acoustic sensing. And in the work we present today, we try to push the limits of the acoustic sensor and evaluate how much detail and accuracy we can get out of a 2D tactile array when it's made up from an acoustic sensor. To generate the different contact patterns, we use a modular Braille display like the one shown here. The surface of the PneuFlex actuator covers an area of 29 by 4 dots, each separated around 2.5 millimeters with a height of 0.7 millimeters and a lifting force equivalent of 17 grams. So this is the challenge we set ourselves. We create different contact patterns with this Braille display and then evaluate the level of detail we can achieve when using the acoustic sensor as a tactile sensing array. We start the evaluation by looking at the spatial resolution in 2 dimensions. For this, we have the display show lines like this and place the finger onto the display. For each line, we record acoustic samples and use them to train a sensor model. On a separate test set, we then predict the contact location only from the recorded sound. This is the plot for the first finger dimension, so along the length like this. The horizontal axis shows the true contact location and the vertical axis what our sensor measured. So this blue diagonal line shows the ideal result. And if we now look at the measured result, we can see that our acoustic sensor actually gets pretty close to that and achieves good accuracy with a root mean squared error of just below 1.7 millimeters. We then repeat this evaluation for the second dimension and have the display show lines like this in the other direction. This is to test the resolution in the short dimension of the finger, which looks like this. Again, the bottom of the plot represents the true value and the side the measured value, with the blue diagonal showing the optimal result. And if we then now look at the experimental results again, we can see that we achieve an even higher accuracy in the short dimension and that every single sample from the test set was correctly predicted. This demonstrates the very high spatial accuracy that can be achieved with the acoustic sensor. And in the paper, we provide some additional results on the 2D accuracy and discuss different sound representations and sensor models that we tested. But in the remainder of this talk, I would like to focus on what I think is the most impressive result, the reading of Braille characters. For this, we use the dot patterns of the 26 letters of the Braille alphabet shown here. And we display them on our Braille display again, but we only use a single cell this time. And this part of the cell has a dimension of 2.5 millimeters by 5 millimeters. So it's actually pretty small. And this is what these letters look like on this small part. So let's see how our acoustic sensor did predicting these. I will show the results in this confusion matrix, where on the bottom you see the true letter that was shown by the display, and on the side you see which letter our acoustic sensor predicted. And the classification rate will be given in color, so we would hope for a dark blue diagonal. And if we look at the results now, this is actually what we can see. So we see that most letters are really well predicted with very high accuracy. And overall, this allows us to achieve a classification rate of 88%, which means that in 88% of the time we find the exact right contact pattern, all by using the sound recorded from within the finger. So, to summarize, we have demonstrated that we can use the acoustic sensing method to turn a soft pneumatic actuator into a tactile array with high spatial resolution and the ability to recognize small and complex contact patterns. Of course, our study was done in the static scenario of an uninflated finger mounted on top of a Braille display. So the next step should naturally be to see this built into a full hand and test it with actuation and different objects. But nonetheless, we still believe that this is an impressive demonstration of the versatility and accuracy of the acoustic sensing approach. So, if this has piqued your interest and you would like to try it out yourself, I recommend you check out our acoustic sensing starter kit, which you can find at this website. And with this, I would like to thank you for your attention, and I'm looking forward to your questions.